Welcome back to another episode of Just Heal with Dr. J, and I am your host, Dr. J. Barnett. Listen, before we get started in this episode, I want to encourage you to join our Healing Hub. We call it Healing Community. I don't know, Healing Circle, whatever you want to call it. All I know is we are healing over here on this podcast. I want to encourage you to subscribe, hit that like button, do all the things. Don't just flirt with us. Come on over here and join us, right? So, I have had a unique journey of meeting some amazing people, some amazing, dope, talented brothers. And I'm excited about my guest today because he's a brother that I met many years ago when I was living in Sugar Land, Texas. And we actually kind of started our journey at the same time. Our journey of healing, self-discovery, our journey of just like wanting more. I was on my journey of going to therapy, and what I would do, I would go to the town center and just sit at the town center and just sit by myself. And one night I went out, sat at the town center, and I heard a sound. And it was a sound that I'm telling you, man, I love musical instruments. And I heard a brother playing the saxophone. And I heard a brother that was playing a sound. I said, I gotta go meet this brother. Met the brother. We talked that night. At that time he was taking tips. He was taking tips, and I was like, man, let me get this brother $10, man, because this brother's killing it. But now this brother's not just collecting tips. This brother's collecting bags because he's all over the world. And I'm so excited to have my brother and friend, the amazing, talented, gifted saxophonist, Chris Mitchell, man. Welcome, my brother.
Thanks for having me, man. This has been a pleasure to be here.
Man, now, before we get started, now that is a saxophone, right?
Soprano saxophone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between that saxophone and the one that's just kind of like the kind of J shape?
All right, so it's like a choir. You got soprano, alto, and tenor, like the voices.
Yeah.
So with the saxophone, it's similar to that. So soprano saxophone would be like the sopranos in a choir, altos like the altos in a choir, tenor, and so forth.
Wow.
So this is more of a brighter sound, more of a higher pitch,
Yeah.
higher octave sound. So, yeah.
Wow, man. Listen, I just wanted y'all to have that quick moment, quick teaching moment, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know I knew it was a saxophone, but I didn't know what type, man. So, brother, I am so excited to have you joining the Just Heal podcast, man. We have been friends for 10 plus years.
Yeah, over a decade.
Yeah, over a decade.
Yeah.
And to see your journey and to see your growth, to see your name be on arenas is something amazing, man. Because I remember when you was in Sugar Land playing in front of that
Turquoise restaurant.
Turquoise restaurant,
Yeah.
man. What was it?
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean
Yep.
restaurant, yeah. And to see where you are now, brother, I'm so proud of you, man.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, that was the start of my journey because I graduated right after the recession from college. I was jobless for 2 years. There's a lot of stories you didn't know that I haven't told you. But when you saw me that day, I just started playing on the sidewalk 7 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day. I was playing for tips only. So 2 years of not finding a job after the recession was a problem for me. My car was stolen with all my instruments in there. Right after I left church, I was playing at church for, $25 a Sunday at a time. And that's all they could pay me. So I went to the movies. And after I left the movies, thank God the girl I went to the movies with drove. It's because after I walked into her car and I walked to my car was gone.
Wow.
And I had my saxophone in there. So I went to the pastor and asked him if I could have $150. And I went to the pawn shop and bought a saxophone. And that's the saxophone you saw me using on the sidewalk. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And shortly after I met you, that's when my life really started to change. There was a guy at the restaurant called Harry Seisha. That's his name. If he lost his mortgage today, I'll pay his mortgage. I'm telling you, this guy here really saved my life. Harry Seisha came out on a Saturday afternoon, and he was looking around in the town square, and he says, "You know what? You should be collecting people's information, man, so to let you know when they're gonna be back out here." I said, "Man, you're right." So I went into the manager's office, got on Microsoft Word, put name, email, phone number, drew a bunch of lines, and printed out about 20 pages. Went out there at my table, the table you saw I had my bucket on, and I put the tablet down there with the sheets of paper on it. I started collecting over 400 emails and phone numbers a day. Now I was out there, you think that's a lot, but I was out there for 8 hours, 7 days a week. So after 9.5 months, I collected over 500,000 people's information.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. Slow down, Chris.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot today. We're gonna unpack a lot today.
Slow down, man. You collected almost $500,000?
Over $500,000. And at the time I didn't have the money for Wix. So I had to input it all by hand. So I didn't have any money for an iPad. So when people wrote it down, they wrote it down. So I gotta transfer it to the computer. So I had hundreds of Gmail accounts because you can only upload so many and only send 500 emails per day. So I had to create so many Gmail accounts. So I was busy.
Wow.
Yeah, this wasn't too long after we met.
Man, so I want to go back to when you started. You go on a date with the young lady and you come back, your car is gone, but your instruments are gone as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it
When
was.
when you walked out there, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
It's funny. The podcast is about when the show is about healing. By that time, I've already healed. I've been through a lot of my life, man, that you don't know about. The most traumatic experience was Mother's Day of 1997, when my father tried to kill the whole family. He stabbed my mom 5 times in the chest, my sister in the stomach, and came after me. I held my mom in my lap while she died. My sister crawled over.
Oh,
Yeah. Hours after it happened, when the ambulance came to pick her up, my uncle came to pick me up from the scene, took me to the house, his house, and we got a call about 4 hours later, 4 or 5 hours later. I was 10 years old at the time. Said that she miraculously lived. They gave her 9.5 pints of blood. She's still here today, 78 years old.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's um I'm pausing, man, because I didn't know that, man. I didn't know your backstory. I didn't know because we never had any childhood conversations. I think when we met, we were often having discussions about where we wanted to go
Yeah, 100%.
and where we were. But to think about a 10-year-old boy that's holding his mom in his hand, and as she's bleeding out, man, I'm sitting here just trying to fathom. And I'm sure that you didn't at the time because you probably didn't even know what was going on, that everything was happening so fast.
Yeah. So when it happened, my parents, I use the phrase where my dad was a terrible husband, but he was a good father to his children. I know as crazy as that may sound, he didn't miss any of the important events for his kids. He was always there. But his relationship with my mother was terrible. My dad was a pastor. I'm a PK.
It's like me.
Yeah, like you.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, my dad's a pastor.
I had no
30,
idea.
33 years.
Really? Yeah. So, man, I grew up in South Park in Houston, near Third Ward. My dad was a hard worker as a carpenter and contractor.
So was my dad.
Oh, so yeah.
He was a carpenter.
Really?
Yeah.
We may not be brothers. All right, so
wait a minute,
he
man.
was Rolling Stone, man. So hold up. So yeah. So I grew up in South Park in Houston, and we was evicted from several homes, and it got to a point where my dad had to shut down the church, and we had to live in the church for a year and a half. Didn't have any. My birthday's on Christmas. That's how I get my name, Chris. I didn't get any presents when we were younger. So what my mom did was she pawned a wedding ring to buy me my first Christmas gifts. So when my dad earned the money, he went to the pawn shop to buy it back, but they gave it back. Well, he gave the money to my mom, and she went, and the owner gave my mom the wedding ring back because he just thought it was admirable what she did for her children. So I mean, yeah, that's two of the many stories I got to share. I'm gonna try to give you as many as I can today. But when you go through so much of that, up to 10 years old, you learn how to heal. So anything that came as a challenge after that the most traumatic experience was just like this. You know what I mean? So I can handle it on the sidewalk.
But how did you heal though?
Well, I knew God was real. I've always been in church my whole life. And to back you up, I was born on December 25th, 1986. My before I got here, my mom was 39 years old when she was having me. Doctors told her in 1986 this is not a good idea because they didn't have that type of technology back then to have a child at 80 to 39. So my dad was against it. My oldest siblings were against it. They were like, shoot, we want our mom. Child ain't gonna. We want her to make it. If the child can't make it, that's the decision we're gonna roll with to keep our mom. But they didn't know that the whole time my mom had been praying for a savior to come to the family. So a
Wow.
financial savior. So when I got here, they were trying to figure out what was gonna be my gift. My mom always knew it was gonna be his gift. When I was 4 years old, was a choir rehearsal at church. That was the day they discovered my gift. The choir was rehearsing, and I got off the front bench, and I went and pointed out to the person that was in the wrong key. And then my brother looked at my mom and my cousin. They said, "That's what it is. He got perfect pitch." So when they came to learn the saxophone, I didn't take lessons. It took me 2.5 months. I would put Kenny G CDs in a CD player and just try to emulate the sounds I was hearing. And I just picked
Wow.
it up. The third month, my first performance was in church. I played Amazing Grace. And that was that was pretty
So
much
you
it
just
from there. Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
So you discover your gift at 4.
yeah.
You learn how basically taught yourself how to play the saxophone through hearing.
100%.
So I play drums.
No, I didn't know
I play
that.
drums, and
Okay.
I don't play often like I used to. I played in my dad's church. My dad sung quartet,
Same here.
and so
Yeah,
I played for his group. I
yeah.
played by ear. Can't read sheet music.
You came in Kojic.
Yeah, and so my dad was Baptist, and
Yeah.
so I played by ear. And to discover your gift at such a young age, but also to experience something so traumatic.
Mhm.
How do you navigate what happened at 10 through the time you went through college?
Because God never let me fail. So when I was when I was sitting down on the curb and she was dying, my mom immediately started praying over me
While she was dying.
while she was dying.
Do you remember what her prayer was?
Yeah, she was praying that God keeps her here to be here for her children. So she was rubbing her hand on my cheek, bloody hand, everything. Man, it was blood shooting up like a water fountain. And I remember I had on the Grant Hills. Remember the Grant Hills in
Yeah.
'97? Yeah, the white Grant Hills. I had a whole white unit on. It was all in blood, drenched in blood. And my sister was crawling over, and she started praying, and she passed out. So I started rocking her, saying, "Don't leave me." So her testimony is that when she passed out, she heard a voice that asked her, "Do you want to stay with your children, or do you want to come with us?" She said, "I want to stay with my children." So she woke up in the back of the ambulance truck. We didn't know that. So when she got to the hospital, they gave her 9.5 pints of blood. And so when she told her testimony in church, she said she heard a voice saying, "Don't leave me." I'm the one that told her that. I said, that was me. So in in my eyes, it felt like, we're all guys, little children, his angels, right? I felt like I was being an angel for her that night. I felt like I was the one that kind of like really encouraged her, inspired her, motivated her to stay here. So throughout life, every little thing that I got involved in, I was always saved from it. It didn't matter. Like it was when we didn't have a place to live, we got evicted, we had a place to live. When she died, she came back to life. Uh when I wanted to learn how to play saxophone, I didn't have any money for it. My sister she was in the military at the time. She was able to get a loan. I didn't have the money to get lessons, so God gave me an ear for it. When I graduated school, I couldn't find a job. He gave me an opportunity to play on the street. That's why I met you. When I didn't have money to rent venues, I saved up $800 from playing tips and rented the Red Cat Jazz Cafe. I don't know if you remember that.
I'm
Yeah,
a Red Cat in Houston.
in Houston. Rented the Red Cat Jazz Cafe. Shout out to Santa Pink. He was the owner. No one would give me the opportunity because I was just somebody playing on the street. So I rented the venue. So Sam Pink was like, "How you gonna sell tickets?" So I said, "Well, I got a few email addresses. I'm gonna see what happens." Sold out in under 15 minutes. There's 150 seats. I had 500,000 people, right? So we added a second show. The first was at 7 p.m. The second one was at 9:30 p.m. That was sold out too. So every time I got involved with something I wanted to do, He literally always opened the door for me if I only stayed true to what I wanted to do.
Wow.
Now, what led me out to the sidewalk is interesting because after my car was stolen and I got that saxophone, I prayed a prayer that I'll never forget. And you reach a point in your life, like when you were healed, or when you were prayed over by TD Jakes. I saw the video. Uh, the moment I knew that I really had a connection was during that prayer because I surrendered my entire life, everything. So I told God, I said, if you bless me with music, I don't care if I made $20,000 a year, I'm gonna take it over any job you give me that's 60,000. That was in 2011. I meant it, and he knew I meant it. 2 weeks later, I ended up at Turquoise. My friend Shola, he lives in Baltimore now. He's from Houston. He the one that told me to go to Sugarland Town School with him. He plays saxophone, and we were just practicing in the open. So when I was walking down the sidewalk, I saw a guy playing a guitar. The guy you saw me playing guitar with, he was on the sidewalk, and I just told him if we play together, we can make some extra tips. And then that door was open, and then the whole Harry Seisha give me the idea open. And then when I wanted to do concerts full time in different cities, I was sitting in at the bar area in Turquoise, and I was looking at CNBC. That's what he had on the screen. CNBC said that in 2011, that America is one of the most diverse countries in the nation. So I graduated a general business degree, but I had the hustler mentality from the street. So I said, all right, well, if America is the most diverse in the world, right? Uh, then Houston got to be that too, because Houston is one of the most diverse in the nation. So that means everybody on my list ain't from here.
Mm.
So I go back to my email list, start asking people, where you from? New York, Italy, I'm from Morocco, I'm from wherever, all around the world. I was right. But now I still don't have the money to get to them to do the shows. So I was playing at Sugarland Marriott on Wednesday night, right down on, right down there. Uh, Jeffrey Abimeji, the general manager, I asked him, I said, I see all these parties coming in and out, people having meetings and parties in a meeting space in bar rooms. How you get a bar room or a meeting space? He was like, well, how many people you want to hold? I said, man, maybe about 50 people. He said, what you trying to do? I said, I'm trying to do a show, but I don't have money for a venue. He was like, well, this is how you work it. If you could do a food and beverage minimum meet, you can get the room for free. Or if you rent a room, you don't have to have food and beverage, but the rent gonna be a little higher for the meeting space. Okay. And I said, well, does that work all around the world? He go, yeah. I said, is there any money up front? He was like, no. And he said, they give you a deadline. I said, okay, cool. Here's another nugget guy gave me. I get an email a few days later. A woman named Jenny Chang. She says, my name is Jenny Chang. I'm from Groupon.com. We've been watching your career. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, what career? Because I already post on social media like that. I ain't got no career. So she's like, I've been your friend on Facebook for a while, but we trying to start this music thing on Groupon. We want you to be one of the first. And I was like, well, I'm thinking to myself, well, I ain't got no venues. So I lied to her. I was like, all right, cool. I'll send you the tour schedule. I ain't got no tour. So I started calling all around the world, booking meeting spaces at the Marriott Hotel, which is perfect because I knew that my career revolved around entertainment for women. Men don't buy concert tickets. So not like that. Not like women do. So I needed a place where women could get dressed, have a place where they can go have something to eat, something to drink,
Listen to
get
some good
valet,
music.
listen to some good music. If they don't want to go home, they could go upstairs and go to their room. It was a hotel. It was the perfect place. So I started doing shows all over. I didn't have the money, so I was buying one way tickets. I didn't have a way to get home. And since we in Dallas right now, there was hotels I was out here playing at. And then I started playing at the Dallas Art Museum.
Wow.
Yeah. And I ain't had the money to pay them either until after
Wow.
the show when I sold enough CDs.
Man.
Yeah.
Bro, as I'm listening to you, Chris, what's cathartic and what will also be a bit freeing for those that are watching is how what happened as a tragedy and what could have been a traumatic spin on your life turned into something greater than what you can even imagine. Because what happens when we have a traumatic experience, not only do it reset the brain, but it also reset our life. And your life seemed to have been reset in such a way that God orchestrated that what was meant to derail you actually put you on path,
Mhm.
because you now saw God as this sovereignty and saw God like, if he will bring my mom back, what else could he do?
Yeah,
Is that how you view God through your journey of healing?
absolutely. I didn't have the money for college. I didn't know how to get in. So my best friend filled out my application. I was always surrounded by the people God needed me to be surrounded by
Mm.
to where I can be where I am today and further. So I didn't know how to get in college. I went to Sam Houston State University, by the way. He filled out my application. I didn't have the grades. So two of my friends, they were in the Decker program back in high school. You probably remember
Yep.
Decker. Those are smart people in
Yeah.
there. So two of my friends, you would wonder like why they friends with Chris, but they wrote my letter to Sam Houston of why they should let me in. So I get to Sam Houston and I'm basically the Fresh Prince of Bel Air getting dropped off because I was like, I don't know where to go from here. So I get dropped off in Huntsville. I'm looking at my friends like, all right, I'm here now. What now? Then we got to go down and figure out what your major minor gonna be. But the point is that I've always been like he's always ordered my steps everywhere I
That
was going.
that's what I was looking for right
Yeah,
there.
I never had to
It's-
wonder like what was gonna be next because, like you said, like I always knew that God had me. So even still to this day, the scariest thing for a businessman is that we don't know of tomorrow. And that's in a good book too. We're supposed to let that go and worry about and focus about today. So even as a businessman in today, man, you don't know how much you never made the same amount of money on a day
No.
ever. That's not how business works. Uh, even when you have contracts, that doesn't mean it's gonna pull through,
Yeah.
right? You just got to step out in faith. That's business.
That's
It's
this.
all faith.
Yeah. That is business. If you're a real entrepreneur,
Yeah,
you have to operate on
you
faith.
have to operate on faith.
So I want to go back to your childhood. Mom is still living.
Yep.
Whatever happened with dad?
Then he went to prison for about 5 years. Laws was different in '97, so he went to about 5 years. And then he got released. And I still talk to him today. Ben forgave him a long time ago. I mean, we don't go out and have a beer or nothing like that, but I always
What
check on him, see if he's doing all right,
what
because
what
he's
what
still
was
my father.
what was that like for you to forgive your father who you watch preach,
Mhm.
pastor, shepherd, and the very wife that he had, that the Bible would say, love your wife, husband, love your wives as Christ loved the church. You don't see that with him and your mom. In fact, it is a complete opposite of what you should have saw, or what you didn't see. I know you say that you forgive them, but if you can, somebody who's watching this, what is that process like? To forgive somebody that you love, that it's not like an uncle, it's not like a friend, a cousin. This is your dad who tried to take your mom's life. How do you, and your sisters, and then like how did the forgiveness? What was that process like for you?
Even on our best day, we're still as filthy as a woman's rag. That's in the good book. God still loves us, right? So regardless of how bad he did my mother or his children, I'm supposed to still love him. You know what I mean?
So not at any given time, did you ever have any malice, any
As a
hate in
child, I
your
was
heart?
upset, but over time, because of my faith in God, it just kind of just dissipated.
Did you ever do therapy? Anybody you ever sit in,
Yeah,
in
at
a
the
process?
altar, I couldn't go to a person. You know what? Because me going to a person, I needed somebody to relate to that traumatic experience.
Yeah.
They took us to therapy. That didn't work for me. What I needed to do was go to the altar and go to my source, my therapy. So when I went to that altar and got on my knees and told God, just take it all from me. I don't want it. He did. So I think a lot of the times that We go and look for healing in people from people. But you gotta go to that alt like you did. That video was different, bro. I've seen you do a lot of videos. I've seen you pray over people and get prayed over. Something happened that day when you was with TD Jakes. I don't know what you was going through, but something happened. And you went and you gave it all to God that day.
Man, and it's funny you say that. What had happened was, um, that was probably, bro, the toughest year of my life, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming out of a relationship that I walked away from, I thought, uh, amicably, but the individual felt that I couldn't leave on my terms.
Mm.
And because they had an issue with me leaving, they made my life a living hell. Her son, who is here today, and we'll talk about it a little bit. I walked into the gym, Chris, right in Missouri City, and they was ready to turn me around because it was all on the news that she said I had abused her, hadn't touched her, hadn't. All I just said, I was just wanted to break up, and this didn't work for me. And during that time, man, when everything popped off, it was May of 2018. And that happened with Bishop July in 2018. And you're right, man. Something shook that day. I mean, I still had to heal and go through that process of really forgiveness, because it's one thing to be accused of something that you go, you know what, I probably could have did this better. But to be accused of something where you just like, no, I didn't do that. And when that happened with Bishop, man, it was my moment of understanding that God truly sees me.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I caught a flight up to Dallas from Houston.
Oh, shit.
I was still in Houston.
Oh, so I thought you was living in Dallas at
No,
time.
I was still in Houston. So a friend of mine went to church, and I was like, she was like, "Yo, you need to come up here, man." She's like, "You just need to come to church, man." She's like, "I don't know why, but I feel like Bishop got a word for you." I said, "Okay, bet." So I got on a plane and came up, and that happened that day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, man. Something, and when that happened that day, man, it was almost like the moment that Jesus come out of the water when John the Baptist is baptizing him, and God goes, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased." It was like this was my moment that God was validating me, that I know you are hurting right now, but I got you right where I want you. And I'll never forget that day, man. And for you to bring that up and for that to be uh, um, sort of like an earmark that you remember tells me, man, that not only had an impact on my life for me being in that moment, but also had an impact on yours.
It did, man. You know, we believe it or not, your followers, we watch your journey. So we've been following you for a while, seeing where you're coming from and where you currently are and where you want to go. And it is healing to see somebody that's, for us, seems like they're doing so well on social media, but then they go to church and surrender themselves like that. That's reality for us. We don't get a lot of that on social media, man. We get a lot of, I'm just doing good, life is good. There's no hardships. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But to see you do that, that reminded me like there's there's some realness in some people that post on social media on my timeline what I need to see.
right.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate you posting that. That was nice.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that, man. Because
Yeah.
again, I never you never know how people feel,
Yeah. No.
you
I
know,
think you touched a lot of people with that.
until you hear what people think
Yeah.
about, what they observe. And so you sharing that, man, I'm really blessed, man. I'm just blessed, man, to have you here in your journey. Like I didn't know about your childhood story. I didn't know, but just to see you live in complete freedom,
Mhm.
because that's not most people, let
No.
alone most men, because some people have a traumatic event, man, and they're off for the rest of their lives. They can't find their way back. They can't find their way to reconcile and to see you thriving in what should have and what the enemy probably meant for harm, but God used it for good.
You know, it's funny that as I mentioned before, we're all God's children, so we all have discernment. You have a decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
We're all faced with that. Some people choose not to go the positive route or to follow the path God wants to take them because of fear. The humans we're curious. You know what I mean? And but we also fear the unknown.
Yeah.
A lot of the times people don't jump off in business themselves or self-employment because they're afraid to leave the employment that they have because they're like, oh, I got bills, I got a wife, I got kids. Or on the flip side, I got a husband, I got kids, or whatever. But the thing is, it's like you're still supposed to step out in faith because I explained this in another podcast I did in Atlanta. The interview, he had a kid. I said, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing and living your dream because if you wasn't, one day your kids are gonna grow up and they're gonna ask you, well, daddy, are you doing what you want to do? Because dads tell their kids you could be all you want to be, but they're gonna want to know if you being all you want to be too. So you gotta be an example.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So
Ooh, man.
yeah.
Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Are you being all you want to be?
Yeah. They're gonna ask you that. They're gonna look at you like that. And you're gonna have to answer it. You're gonna have to answer it. Yeah, it hit home, but it's
Man.
the truth, man.
That's
I watched your dad was a contractor and a preacher. My dad was a preacher, both. Parents are the same. Was my dad doing what he really wanted to do? I don't think so. But also I think he was doing what God called him to do. I think he should have left that contracting alone. And if he would have stayed in the word, then he'd have been all right. Because that's
mm,
what he was called to do.
mm,
But he deviated. And when you deviate, you see what happens? If I stop doing what I'm called to do with music, it's not gonna go well. Like you just said, why didn't my life go the other way? It's because I stayed true to what God wanted me to do. As long as I stayed doing music and how he wanted me to do it, I was gonna be all right. Everything's gonna work itself out.
So let me ask you this, Chris. Is that your lifeline?
No, so I'm glad you asked. So people think that the saxophone is my gift. That's not my gift. My gift is entertainment. The saxophone is just a segue for me to do it. I can entertain people without my saxophone. So if you stole the saxophone, I'll still be all right because God had just put my gift in an instrument,
Mm,
put it in me. So for me to
that's
go
good.
out there and entertain on stage, when I got my saxophone out of tune or if it's backstage and I broke the reed or whatever, I can still go out there and give people a good show. Matter of fact, before I even go out there and perform, I walk on the stage without my saxophone, and people happy to see me. What do you think that is? It's not they like, where your saxophone at?
Hmm.
Some people may say that, but yeah, but I still get out there and entertain them though. So when you start deviating from what you're called to do, your life is not gonna look good. Like you can go out there and make all the money you want. If you went to the NFL and not doing this right here, you would not work. It would have not ended well for you at all.
And I never forget,
Well,
man.
you did go, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
and I never forget. You said it. I never forget someone telling me that a
yeah.
lady, an older lady, said, "God didn't allow you to make it because it was not going to end well for you."
No, it's not your gift. Your gift shall make room for you. And if you're not using it, dude, I'm telling you, it's like blatantly going against God's will for you. Who wants to do that?
Right,
I don't want to do that. I don't even want to see what that's gonna look like if I just stop doing what I'm called to do. It's not gonna end well.
man. Whew, man. Listen, if you're watching this, it's not by chance, not by happenstance. I think it's a divine moment. That you've been listening and watching my brother Chris Mitchell, awesome saxophone player, but even better man. And so often we are infatuated with people's gift that we lose focus of the gift giver. And what I love that Chris is expounding on, and I love one of my favorite words, he's elucidating, painting this picture that he's never forgotten the giver of his gift. And I want to say to you, Have you forgotten what God has given you? Maybe there's some gifts in you that you have just overlooked, that you have just forgotten about. In fact, you just don't even want to touch it because it irritates you, because everybody's like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You good at this. So I want you to take this opportunity to think about, what has God given you that is unique about you? How can you use your gift to not only just be blessed because you're compensated for it, but how can you be a blessing? Just think about that. We'll be right back. This episode is powered by our partnership with Eternal Water. Click the link below and go grab your bottle of fresh tasting Eternal Water. It took me a long time to figure out not only just what my gift was, but how to utilize my gift. And I think that's the difficulty for most people is, well, Dr. J, what do I do with my gift? Okay, I can do this, because sometimes you can be gifted in many different areas. What I learned was my voice was a gift, and my level of understanding and comprehension was even more of a gift, because I can conceptualize information and process it in a way and deliver it back to people where they can hear it in a way that can resonate with them. When you think about playing by ear, what are some of the things that you hear when you are deciphering how to pull out a sound and to connect the chords?
So I'll tell you what gets me started before I even go into a performance. I got a playlist, like a gospel playlist. That's what I listen to before I go on stage. Um, and I think my spirit gets heightened. So then when I go out there, it's kind of like somebody that lose the Holy Ghost. They don't, it's the Holy Ghost. They don't know where they at. So when I go out there, I just play. It's just like muscle memory. It's just like, just order my fingers. So what do you want me to, however you
Just
want me to
tap
do,
in.
just tap in with it. So I don't have any premeditated
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, I just start going.
What I love about what you shared today, Chris, is that you just a vessel, man,
Mhm.
but a willing vessel, and you have surrendered the gift. I often talk to people about that when they ask me about my ability to do what I do. I said, daily I have to surrender my gift back to God. Because if you don't surrender it back to God, you will mismanage what he's giving you. And I never want to mismanage what God has given me. I don't want to manipulate. I don't want to exploit. I don't want to use for my gain. I want to always make sure that I'm stewarding the gift well, so he continues to expand what the gift can do.
Correct.
How important is it for you to steward your gift? And when you think about,
That's funny you say that because I know you can relate what I'm about to tell you. How did it feel being in church on a Sunday and you weren't playing drums? You feel like you need to get up there.
yeah,
Exactly. Because that was your way of praise. That's the same thing with me. I can't just go to church sometimes and just be sitting on the sidelines. Some people raise their hands, some people lose their mind, some people just stand still and cry. Ours was, I gotta get to that instrument. I gotta play the drums. I gotta feel it. That's how I'm gonna feel it. You know what I mean? That's how I steward it. By every time I play, I make sure in every concert I do one good gospel song, because that was my promise to God, that every show I'm do a gospel song and tell my story, and I do.
wow,
Yeah, there's not a concert that ever went by that would not tell my story. My story goes further than that. Um, since 2011, I've never been hired to do a concert. Every theater, every arena has been my own investment.
wow,
I've never been hired. Even when I spoke to Live Nation this year about going on my tour for 2026 and put my tour dates together, they're like, all right, great. Send an agent. And I was like, I'll send you the agent, but I'm renting the theaters. And even then, they were like, what? And I was like, yeah. But uh, again, it goes back to earlier, we was talking about step out in faith. That's another way of me stewarding my gift.
this man's in it.
Yeah, this as long as I just stay on the path that he wants me to be on, I'll be all right. I literally don't. My prayers are very open ended. It literally ends and basically have your way.
Mm.
That's it. I don't
Wow.
have this. Habakkuk 2:2, Steve Harvey talks about it a lot. Was one of my favorite verses. Write the vision, make it plain, so he who reads it will run to it. Even though it take a long time, wait for it. For surely it'll come at the
Though
appointed
it
time.
tarries,
Yeah, even though it tarries,
wait for
wait for it.
it.
It'll come at the appointed time. This is a fact. You went through your life trained, gym, two-hand touch on the street, in the grass. That's your, you know what I'm saying? And you stay to it. You went to the league. After that, you left. You went through some things, but you still use your voice. And here I am today, sitting with you. Like, it's easy for me to call you my brother because there was a reason why we met
Yeah,
on that sidewalk.
on the sidewalk, and we was
Sidewalk.
both at a place where we was looking for more.
Was looking for more. And look at us.
And
10
we,
plus years later, we talking about our journeys.
man,
Yeah, you never know.
bro, when I tell you I'm so proud of you, man, it blesses me to see you all over the world. It blesses me to see your videos being reposted, retweeted.
Thank you.
You know, to see your TikTok videos, is to hear people talking about how phenomenal of a saxophone player you are, man. It blesses me because no one would have ever known that this black man that was standing on the sidewalk had navigated one of the most traumatic experiences that any child would have to navigate through.
Yeah.
Is seeing their parent in a pool of blood
Yeah.
and finding a way to not only just forgive your dad, but finding a way to take what God has given you to use it, brother. And I tell you, brother, you have inspired me even more today, just hearing that, because I didn't know. And that's why I love what I do with this podcast, because we don't realize that our life's journey is also someone's healing journey. And it's how people get healed through sharing our stories, man. In this moment, if you can think about a song in this moment, what would you play?
Amazing Grace.
Yeah, let's hear it. Mm. Man, my brother, you're truly anointed, man.
Thank you.
There's people who are gifted and there's people who are anointed. You are both.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And I pray, man, that as you begin your tour next month, that you experience a different level of admiration and validation, not because you're good at it, but you get to experience what your gift brings to others.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the interview. Thank you for inviting me on, man, and staying in contact with me because I got some friends as we both that didn't make it. I'm 38 now. You know what I mean? Like, I got some friends that didn't make it at 38.
Yeah.
But we're in, and we wasn't promised to be here today either.
No.
But we both had some stories to share, and God had a plan, so He kept us. So
Yeah.
here we are.
I want to ask you this one last question I always ask every guest, man. What is healing for Chris Mitchell?
Surrendering your life to Christ. That's it. Accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior and know that God is the only way. That's it. When you do that, everything will work itself out.
Man.
There's not a single story in the Bible of somebody that surrendered themselves to Christ that didn't make it. That didn't make it. Now, God gives a free will. You can choose the other route. Even if you do supposedly surrender yourself to Christ. But for those that surrender themselves and stay on that path, they'll be all right. They'll be just fine.
Man.
Yeah.
Brother, I love you, man.
Love you too, bro. Appreciate it.
Listen, I hope something that was shared today in this interview with Chris, I don't know what we'll title this episode. I know we'll come up with something amazing, but it definitely has been a transformative conversation for me because I've known this brother 10 plus years and did not know the depth of his story. I don't know the depth of your story, but what I do know is there is healing on the other side, and you have the power to rewrite a new story. Listen, don't forget to subscribe to Just Heal, Dr. J. Every Tuesday, we're bringing new episodes. We're bringing guests from all walks of life, people that are sharing their journey so you can continue your healing journey. And remember, healing is a journey and wholeness is the destination. Until next time, take care.